My name is Rory cosio. I was born in 2001. I was 2 when Skype debuted in August 2003. I was 3 years old when Facebook went live. I was 8 when Uber was founded. The skills needed today in a tech-driven economy are very different than the ones required 15 years ago.
We've basically gone from an agrarian society to an industrial society to an information society.
The world has changed, but most of the parents of the girls we help in our community don't know how drastically it's changed. They don't know that the jobs many of them are in now may not even exist 5 years from now, or that an increasingly filtered world could further distance them and their children from financial and social opportunities.
The world is changing at exponentially faster speeds, while school is changing at glacial speed. Here's what's going to happen. The world is going to go around us. If we don't get relevant and we don't do things that kids need, right? Not that are easy for us, but the things kids need. Our kids are competing with everyone, and that didn't exist before. So what I worry about is in a time when creativity and invention and innovation are probably more important than any time in human history, we're focusing on standardized tests where kids are learning right answers to problems. We're building middle managers in a time of innovation, people who ask for permission to think.
In 2011, 2/3, 66% of Hispanic children were living in low-income families, with half of those families living below the federal poverty line. According to the WEF, World Economic Forum, more than 7 million jobs are at risk in the world's largest economies over the next 5 years as technological advances in fields such as robotics and 3D printing transform the world of work. The greatest loss of jobs will be white-collar and administrative roles. The WEF conducted a survey that predicts this will partially be offset by the creation of roles in areas such as computing, maths, architecture, and engineering. The report stated that the burden of job losses seems to fall equally on women, 48%, and men, 52%. However, given that men represent a larger share of the overall job market than women, this even spread translates into a widening of the employment gender gap. Given women's low participation in STEM professions, one of the fastest growing areas of job creation, women stand to gain only 1 new STEM job for every 20 jobs lost across other job markets. Meanwhile, the portion for men is 1 new job for every 4 jobs lost.
Women face challenges in every industry. But I found that although women make up roughly half of the overall workforce in the United States, our ranks are declining in information technology, from 40% in 1986 to only 24% today. And I'm concerned this decline may continue. There has been a 79% drop in the number of women majoring in computer science in the last 8 years. Studies suggest a number of factors, including long hours and travel, the glass ceiling, lack of mentors and role models, and lack of parity in pay.
But what interested me was Larry Summers, then president of Harvard, looking around his own university at the time and saying, where are the women physicists on my faculty? Where are the women in other sciences? So I was really trying to answer that question of what had happened between the time I was a college student and the time in 2005 when Larry Summers was asking why are there still so few women in the science rooms on his campus.
There are some who state that there is no skills gap, including Professor Hal Salzman, who is a professor at the Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy at Rutgers University.
We've all heard U.S. kids are dumber than everybody in the world and doing worse. And then secondly, because they're not doing very well in STEM, we don't produce enough graduates who can take STEM jobs, and that puts us at a disadvantage to the rest of the world that's producing hundreds of thousands of engineers and scientists. So we've gone back and looked at each of those points in the argument about the crisis, and at each point we don't find a lot of evidence to support it. U.S. students are actually taking more math and more science than they ever had. Some cases over the last 20, 30 years are taking double the amount of courses in high school, and their test performance is actually better. U.S. students and this is in every age group, every demographic group, every race, does better than the cohort behind them, so that their test scores are improving, they're taking more math, more science.
Furthermore, Professor Saltzman states that only half of STEM college graduates each year get hired for STEM jobs. Why? Professor Ron Hira of Rochester Institute of Technology states that American employers don't want to pay American STEM workers. Instead, they would rather bring in foreigners with the H-1B visa program.
Congress and multiple administrations have inadvertently created a highly profitable business model of bringing in cheaper H-1B workers to replace American workers and to substitute for American workers. The recent replacement of 500 American IT workers at Southern California Edison shows that U.S. workers are clearly getting adverse effects in terms of their wages and their working conditions. Southern California Edison IT workers, American workers, were being paid $110,000 a year. Their H-1B replacements are being paid $70,000 a year.
I think students should learn how to code because it takes us from just being consumers of technology to makers of technology. Because it makes you understand that problems have solutions. They are not just problems. Because it makes you self-sufficient and engaged in how the world works. Because knowing how to code will help you get a better job in the future. Because 50% of entry-level jobs that currently exist will not exist in 10 years, but there will be over 1.7 million jobs related to computer science. Because it is fun. Take the first step. Give it a try and realize that while it may seem overwhelming at first, it's really just about changing your mindset. Didn't we all feel this way about learning our times tables? And now look at how easy that is. Look at coding from an entrepreneurial point of view, and it'll open up a world of possibilities. Good luck.